Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Boomy and today we are watching the City Animal Tier List by TierZoo. Yes. Let's see, City Animals. We're probably gonna talk about cats and dogs. Obviously, they're domesticated. They have the assistance of humans. Let's see, rodents, a few rats here and there. A few is an understatement. There are probably a lot of rats in your city, let's be honest. It makes me think of like the smaller animals that you don't typically see, right? That way, you got insects. When it comes to insects, I can think of spiders, cockroaches. Those are notoriously hard to kill. Pigeon birds, or birds in general. Let's see, what else? Well, it depends on your place, right? In some Asian countries, you can say that you can consider monkeys to be part of those animals. Cows, especially in India, you see a lot of cows roaming around. So yeah, it just depends on where you look at it, and judging from TierZoo, is probably gonna focus on like US cities. So yeah, let's go ahead and check this out. So remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to leave a like. Let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comment section below and consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to leave your suggestions on what I should check out next. That being said, let's go ahead and watch the episode. No, not episode, it's a video.
Stream.
Here I go.
Apex. Oh, was it a crow?
Body shield here. Level 4.
Yeah, I forgot about a crow.
One of the newest biome types introduced to the game is the city biome. This is a completely
City
unique
biome?
type that's almost entirely constructed by human players. However, this video isn't about those human players, nor is it about the players they deliberately add to their party, like cats and dogs, but rather all the other builds in the game, and which ones function the best in the city meta. While obviously not
Was that
all
a
cities
crow
are the
or a
same,
raven?
there are certain strategies that tend to make for a viable city build. We'll first discuss the most and least
Oh
relevant
yeah,
abilities for
is
city
that a
builds,
raccoon?
and then go through the tier list for the city meta. The most important objective when playing in the
Bears.
city biome
Yep.
is avoiding direct contact with humans. While there are ways to defeat humans, doing battle with them on their home turf is
What
nearly
the hell is
impossible.
that? Oh, it's
And
a
so
monkey.
builds that easily get in a
Oh,
human's way,
shit, a
attract lot
deer?
of attention, or come off as intimidating to humans are going to be at the highest risk of doing that. So what types of builds tend to struggle in
Stress.
cities? The resounding answer seems to be tank builds. While tanks tend to be the most outright powerful builds in a given server, the city biome does not favor slow-moving herbivores that require huge amounts of food and have to spend most of the day grazing. In addition to attracting a ton of attention, the city meta is fast-moving and full of unorthodox barriers that slow, large, defense-based builds
Oh, no.
have trouble overcoming. Builds that
Oh,
have
that's
control of
gotta
large
hurt.
territories as part of their main quest line will also have a lot of difficulty in city biomes. Cities are tightly packed because the potential loot is so good. If all that you're after is the
Barnaby.
XP-rich food, great. But if you're after the territory itself, few challenges are more difficult or deadly
Oof.
than trying to conquer a human
Was
player's
that a trank
territory.
gun?
So what does work in
On a
cities?
bear?
Probably the most common trait among successful city builds is
Scavenger.
omnivory. That's because omnivory is key to making sure the supremely valuable loot available in cities is something your character can actually make use of. This isn't to say that you can't succeed as a pure carnivore. Obviously, the crowded nature of cities means there's a lot of potential PvP targets.
Yep.
But there's no question that the scavenger strategy is more effective in cities than in any other biome. Another
Oh
common trait is
man.
nocturnalism, since this makes it much easier to avoid humans.
Uh,
Normally, I tell
an
players
opossum?
to swap to a nocturnal playstyle to avoid dealing with the diurnal player base to get good. But honestly,
Get
when it comes
good,
to humans,
son.
I think it's a fair strategy. As I said before, city biomes present some of the most challenging terrain to navigate in the entire game, and so having high mobility and
Oh,
a
man.
versatile array of movement options
Oh, it's a
is
star.
essential to
Mario
traversing
star.
the concrete jungles. Don't spec into a high top speed if it means
Is that an alligator or a crocodile? It doesn't matter. Sir, I'm gonna need you to get down and never do this again, please.
giving up the ability to climb, high jump, crawl, or swim, because cities will test your ability to do all of these frequently.
Oh man, the absolute unit of that. Was it a moose? Whew, this scar. Got very lucky.
Perhaps one of the most powerful city abilities is Flight, because it not only lets you bypass just about any obstacle, but also is by far the best way to avoid or escape
Pigeons.
contact with dangerous humans. The most common obstacles you'll be able to interact with in cities are power lines, which can be scaled if you have the climb ability, but tend to be best utilized by aerial builds as high visibility, low risk perch spots. Sewers, which can be accessed
Oh
with the
yeah, I've
crawl
seen
ability.
this one. Ah, this clip is so good. It's so good because watch what happens at the end if you haven't seen this
Can
one.
function as a safe shortcut to
Oh
multiple
no,
points in
they
the city.
cut. Damn it.
Buildings.
So if you haven't seen the one, the I think it was a raccoon. Now I'm getting confused between what a raccoon and what a raccoon dog is, but basically he comes back and then covers the lid.
Which often require multiple skills to navigate successfully.
Was that
They
a
often
coyote?
contain the best loot, but are also the most dangerous places to enter
Yeah.
due to being
Trash
almost
panda.
always guarded by humans. And most importantly, roads, which are the most common death trap for players in the city and require careful strategy to traverse. However, in the city meta, the most
They left
important
one.
factor by
They
far
left
is
one
the build's
bear there.
intelligence stat. And this is because the best rewards can only be sustainably looted by using careful strategy and problem solving, whether it's opening doors, crossing streets, avoiding traps, or stealing loot from humans. Without intelligence, gameplay in the city biome is much more difficult. Alright, so let's get into the tier list for the city meta. In F tier, we have the Deer Guild, which includes the classic Deer build along with its variants like the Elk and Moose. These builds lack nearly all of the most important traits for a city build. They don't have a high intelligence stat, they can't climb or crawl, and they aren't omnivorous.
Ooh,
However, Deer
so
players
dumb.
love to loot the gardens that human mains create in cities and suburbs, and because of that are extremely common at the edges of city biomes. However, they struggle to survive further in because of one of the main obstacles, roads.
ooh.
Because they have
Yeet.
no way to climb or fly, they often have to cross roads by making an awareness check, which they often end up failing. However, even at the edge of cities, when things get crowded, deer don't do well, developing chronic wasting disease.
Deer don't
although this
do
is
well.
mostly due to a random bug in the deer's code, which I hope gets patched out soon. Next on the tier list, we have the first of many birds. Because of their high average intelligence, birds tend to do quite well in the city meta. This includes even the weakest bird builds out there, like the pigeon, which is on the low end of average in terms of the bird's stats. Still, being below average intelligence for a bird still puts you well above the average overall, and pigeons are great at making use of it, mostly for superior aerial navigation and for recognizing the human mains that tend to host drop parties most frequently.
Drop
While their
parties.
street smarts are solid, their combat potential leaves a lot to be desired. Pigeons get bodied
Oh,
by basically
man.
every other build in the city meta, and for that, they're stuck in D tier. The next build on the list is another bird, one that's opted for a tank type build, the goose.
Okay,
Now,
the
I've
goose.
actually got a full video dedicated to geese, so I won't spend too much time discussing them
Ooh,
here.
that's interesting.
But geese are actually one of the few builds in the game that had a nearly dead player base, with numbers dwindling before they started joining city servers. However, with the introduction of city parks, geese have risen to prominence more so than ever before. With that
That's a
said,
lot
as
of
intimidating
geese.
as they can be, they're easily defeated as long as your build can resist their intimidation abilities. They pose
Yep.
no real threat and don't really compete for the best loot either, and for that reason they're also in D tier. In C tier, we have a build that's had a bit of breakout success in the
Oh,
city
man.
meta, the coyote. Coyotes
Ah,
hold
yep,
a
it
low
was a
key spot
coyote.
in the prairie and forest meta, mainly due to their inability to deal adequate damage to other players. However, most of the coyote's competition struggles in the city meta, while the coyote's excellent intelligence stat allows it to do quite well here. And in the city, potential targets for the coyote sport much less impressive combat stats. Coyotes are one of the few builds with a favorable matchup against the house cat build, one of the main matchups to
Oh
consider
yeah,
in
the
the
house
city meta.
cats.
This can work against the coyote sometimes though, as human players don't take kindly to coyotes attacking their vulnerable players in their party. Still, C tier is a
5
higher
stars.
place than I gave to coyotes on the canine tier list I made, meaning I think the coyote build is more effective in the city than anywhere else. Next we have the gull, a build very similar in playstyle to
gull.
the pigeon, but with a bit of added bulk, enabling it to survive attacks that would mean game over for players in the lower weight class. Although they're excellent scavengers, because this build was initially developed
Yoink.
by carnivore players, its combat abilities are strong
Oh,
enough to enable
damn.
it to take down other players if need be.
Woo!
This build does best in coastal cities.
You could say that he gulped it in one go. Oh damn, dad
But
jokes.
really is solid in just
The
about any
puns.
city, and ranks at high C tier. In B tier, we have the feral hog, another build which had a bit of breakout success in recent times. Feral Hogs are the bulkiest build on this list, and because of their bulk, they've got essentially no unfavorable matchups against the other non-human city builds. They are easily the safest build to play when it comes to having to fear combat from other players. Unlike coyotes, which humans only perceive as dangerous, but really are far too weak to pose a threat to them, Feral Hogs legitimately are dangerous to humans. Because of this, I would expect the human player base to start calling for bans, and react quite aggressively when a hog's presence is discovered.
Damn,
Still, with one
they
of the highest
gunned him
intelligence stats
down
in the game, the hog build can
quick.
quickly learn to navigate cities. Perhaps their worst detriment is that they require a lot of loot to sustain, and since they can't climb, they may run out of all available loot rather quickly. Last in B tier we have the Squirrel. Squirrels have the highest arboreal mobility of any build in the game, and this mobility translates quite well to traversing buildings and power lines in the city biome. While they aren't tanks by any means, their thick fur does mean they can survive more damage than your average rodent build. Generally, they don't need to worry about this though, as their agility should be more than enough to allow them to escape most dangerous situations.
Look
and
at
enough to
them
allow
go.
them to bypass most obstacles and claim the best loot available.
Huh.
While there's
Bird
certainly
feeders.
no powerhouse, there's no question that when it comes to traversing the urban biome, squirrels are near unparalleled. One of the biggest risks to squirrel mains is that their regenerative tooth ability forces them to use them every so often to damage structures, and gnawing on the wrong thing can mean game over for an inexperienced player.
Yep.
First in A tier, we have the
We've seen, was it the rodent tier list, that squirrels actually do cause a lot of electrical damage to cities.
raccoon. I see the raccoon build as sort of a direct upgrade to the coyote, at least in terms of its viability in the city biome. It boasts similar DPS and intelligence, but is also omnivorous, has much better climbing abilities, and also has better stealth.
Oh
Raccoon
man,
players have a
raccoon
reputation for
man.
making some of the best thieving builds in the game, and this is no mistake. Raccoons can get into just about any container, and their sense of smell is so good that there's basically no way to hide loot from them.
Diamond.
One thing to note is that raccoons are a high skill ceiling build with a low skill floor, despite the fact that the raccoon has all the tools it needs to succeed in
Oh
the city
man,
meta. Their
that
average
is
lifespan
so
is only
funny.
about 2 years, despite having a maximum around 20. On a similar vein to the raccoon, next in A tier we have the monkey, another highly adaptable and versatile build, which combines the intelligence of the hog with the mobility of a squirrel to create a build perfectly capable of mastering everything about city gameplay. Monkeys are one of the few builds with an intelligence level high enough to directly interact with humans.
Okay, so I still haven't seen the crow or raven. Those are probably gonna be either high A tier or S tier for sure.
Whether that be stealing from them, trading with them, or even just generally socializing with them. The monkey's main weaknesses, which are their low defenses and high food cost, are also somewhat
man.
mitigated by cities, since high-value loot is abundant and the predators that could take advantage of the monkey's low defensive stats have a tough time traversing cities uncontested. However, it's important to note that due to a monkey's size, the climbing obstacles in cities aren't always as safe as they seem, so knowledge of how to traverse them is paramount. In top tier, we have two builds which really have total command of cities,
Dead.
as well as nigh untouchability from the hazards common in cities. The first is the Corvid build, including
Corvid,
crows,
yeah.
ravens, and magpies.
Corvid,
These
I
builds,
forgot they're
which are
called
tied with parrots
corvids.
for the highest intelligence level of any bird in the game, are masters of the city meta.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to monkeys, their main weaknesses of low base stats, other than intelligence and mobility, are less of an issue in the city. In fact, corvids play very similar to monkeys in basically every way except that corvids have the flight ability. They too
That's
can
true.
interface with humans with ease, but unlike monkeys, corvids don't have to worry about obstacles like roads or power lines. In fact, corvids use these to their advantage. Roads in particular can be used to access
Yep.
loot that would be otherwise inaccessible.
They, as you can see now that they use the roads and cars passing by to crack tough nuts for them, so that they can get the loot inside.
accessible to a build with such a low power stat, whether that be loot from tough tree nuts or from players who didn't have the skills necessary
Roadkill.
to traverse those deadly roads.
Free food.
This was probably fairly predictable, but there's no question that the best city build in the game is the rat.
Oh yeah, the
While they
rat.
don't have the flight ability, the rat's powerful incisor teeth give them the ability to forge their own paths through cities, being able to gnaw through pipes and even concrete. Their extremely quick spawn rates ensure that once established, a rat player base will be able to leech off of human loot for as long as there's loot available. They're also excellent swimmers and take very little fall damage, so in a lot of ways, rats are even better suited to cities than humans are themselves.
That's
But more
right.
importantly, rats are smart enough to learn to avoid traps that humans deliberately set for them. Intelligence really is everything when it comes to the city meta. Far more important than stats that are normally must-haves, like power and HP. If you're interested in learning more about intelligent animals,
There we
I
go.
recommend you check out Super Smart Animals, a documentary about the heights of animal intelligence on CuriosityStream. It's an awesome 2-part series that covers both practical strategic intelligence and also goes into the social component of intelligence.
Alright, let's skip the pitch and go to the link. Where's the link? Okay, here we go, guys. curiositystream.com/TierZoo and use promo code TierZoo. I'm not sure what that will give you nowadays, but hey, go ahead and check it out. It comes bundled with Nebula now, I think. Oh man, I was not expecting that we're not gonna see cockroaches. I mean, those buggers, once they get established, just like the rat, there's no going away for them. Um, but yeah, it looks like we're just focused on the bigger animals though, and I can understand his conclusion. The rat being the king of the city meta is very understandable. I have lived in the city for some time before, so I kinda know personally the menace of what a rat infestation can deal upon a home. And yeah, I'm interested though. As far as I know, we don't have that much corvids here, at least from what I've seen. I'm pretty sure there are natively here in the Philippines, or at least here in my area in Cebu, but I haven't seen a lot of them like in the wild. Most of the things that I see are pigeons. Obviously, I don't think we have like wild coyotes here. We don't have raccoon problems. Deer as well, non-existent deer. So yeah, most of the things that we deal with are pigeons and rats. But yeah, really good video. It went out somewhat how I predicted. I learned a lot of new things, such as feral hogs being in the picture. That was surprising to me. Well, there are some cities big enough to extend like out in the edges where there's not really like a lot of people, but it's still within the city limits. So yeah, I can kind of get them going out there. I don't think we've touched up on bears though. No, I don't think he included bears, but he showed a lot of references to bears. That's gonna be it for me today, guys. Link to my Twitter is down in the description below. Go and check it out if you want to. And if you're new here and enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. Let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comment section, and consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to leave your suggestion what I should check out next. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.